The prospects for deepening financial inclusion in Nigeria was the focus of discussion at the 2020 Social Media Week in Lagos. System Specs Nigeria, a leading provider of financial technology and human capital management, hosted industry stakeholders to a conversation on human-focused lending in the digital world, impact of fintech collaborations. Moderated by tech journalist and columnist Chukwuemeka Fred Agbata, it was an opportunity on how digital financial services can achieve scale, especially in the lending space. The panelists have their various perspectives on human-focused lending and the key elements around it.
What banks and a lot of financial institutions are trying to do right now, just like he said, things are changing. Things are moving from the core banking, moving from to understanding the customer, understanding your customer behavior, understanding the market, understanding how your customer reacts. What do they do? What interests them? I think that's what you should focus on. Everyday lifestyle of your customer. What does your customer use his income to do? What, apart from the income, the lending, what does your customer enjoy? So these are the things. For me, I'm new in business. Not in business. I'm the business head digital lending, but I'm new in digital. I was in business, so when I was transferred to digital, it excited me because I know that the business front, I understood the customers, and I know that what the customer wanted, quick service. Customer wanted you to understand their behavior. Customer wanted you to know what they wanted to do with their lives, their money, their resources. So to do that, we have to follow our customer from the first day, understand them, from their acquisition, from everything they do. We have to understand the customer. So I think that's just focusing on the customer and understanding, not just giving the customer money. Okay, you've given them money. What was the next thing they did with that money? Where did they go? Where did they shop next? What did they buy? What is their transaction activity? What do they do this month? What are they likely to do next month? So when you understand that, you focus more on servicing your customer and your customers, and that's what we are using data. Why he talked about data analytics and advanced analytics is big for us in digital lending. Just segment data, understand, and focus your services and products to that.
There are three things that come to mind. So one is transparency. So we're very big on responsible pricing and also making it really clear to our customers what we're offering to you, what is the amount, what is the price, with no hidden catch. So you can then make a decision on your own. Does it work for me, yes or no? So really having a transparent point of view and making that clear to the customer. The second thing that comes to mind is empathy. And I say empathy because we tend to we only work with small businesses. And one big thing we've realized is most small businesses, look, if you are less than 10 people in your business, you don't have time for a 6-week or 8-week or 10-week process to get an answer, whether you get a loan or not. So we really push to get you an answer within 1 day. It doesn't have to be a yes, but we get you an answer within 1 day so that you can now make a decision and move your business forward. And the third thing that comes to mind is a no bias approach. So just like I'm sure everyone on this panel, we focus a lot on using data to provide you a loan that makes sense for you and price that makes sense for you. And it's important because maybe 10, 20 years ago, in most instances, if you want a loan, you have to know somebody, right? And you show up to the location, you wear a nice suit, drive a big car, and then that person now says, look, you qualify for a loan. But the idea is a great business comes in all shapes, right? You can be someone that works in an office with a suit and tie. You can also be an informal trader. But you can still have a great business with great cash flow. So the whole idea is if your business qualifies for a facility, you should get it. It should be the right price for you. Everyone in this room, if you apply for a loan, you should have a price that's tailored to you, a credit score that's tailored to you, that rewards you for being a good actor.
There are a few things you need to consider before you give out credit. I mean, the most important thing for us as lenders is to give out responsibly. So we need to first understand the capacity of the customer, that you have the capacity to pay the loan that you're applying for, and also that you check the character of that customer. So those are the processes we put together to ensure that we lend responsibly to all our customers. I mean, lending credit could be a stumbling block to some of the consumers or a stepping stone. So it depends on how or the structure you have as a business that will determine whether that particular credit will be a stumbling block for that person, because believe it or not, it's quite expensive to lend digitally. We have to pay for disbursement, we have to, run in-house analytics to determine, to build a profile for you as a customer. Disbursements, repayment, it's quite expensive. So, we have to tailor every loan we give out per risk level to the customer. And that is how we're able to ensure that the loans we are giving out is human focused, not just to make profit for us as an organization.
It starts from us having a vision to say we need to empower individuals, everyday people, to be able to access credit. And to be able to do that, it takes a mix of data, technology resources, and a focused organization that is able to ensure that that happens. So at System Specs, what we've done first was to go through a transformation as a business, our thinking. The logic to the business we had to look at, and said we needed to evolve it from looking at tech, looking at products, looking at services, to now say how do we bring consumers into the center of what we do. So in the last 24 months or so, what we have is a system where technology and design is now being done in a way to deliver authentic human experience, right? We're using data to ensure that we bring some kind of credit scores, amounts that are like due to you, etc. So from the back end, we're really evolving our technology to be able to deliver that service so that decision making is quicker for our partners who are the ones, doing the lending, etc. So ultimately, I think for us, it's about that whole vision to ensure that everybody, everyday Nigerians are able to access credit, fast, smooth, without friction, and also deploying digital mandates. I think that's very critical to ensure that the speed we are talking about happens. So mandates are taken digitally. We're also providing digital channels to ensure that all touch points, available touch points, can be used to ensure that access, is made possible. So that's how, from the organizational perspective, we are supporting all that our three lenders on the table are doing. So it's all about collaboration, and that's how what you see on the table is working to ensure that you and every other person out there can access credit easily.
Some of the panelists speak further on the theme for the session and opportunities for boosting Nigeria's economy.
I believe that for us to be able to lend responsibly as lenders, there has to be a lot of barriers needs to be removed. Regulatory barriers needs to be removed. There has to be, partnership, intentional partnership between lenders, telcos, and the commercial banks. If you think about the chain between the value chain of lending, it is practically impossible for lenders to be able to have enough data to credit score consumers. So we need to work in partnership with telco companies that are, the largest custodian of data for us to be able to run the analysis and for us to lend cheaper. If you talk about human focus, because I don't want to lend to you to be like a stumbling block. I want you to see it as a stepping stone to do the things you want to do. That means we need to lend to you. It has to be affordable, right? And to lend at that rate, all those expensive processes of disbursement, repayment, everything needs to be, neatly regulated to ensure that lenders are able to lend cheaper as well.
So a lot of comments were made on the panel about partnership to really build the value chain so that we can unlock access to all financial services, not just credit to the small businesses. For us, it's important that from a fintech perspective, we keep innovating and offering solutions that can scale across the country very quickly without the need for the consumer to physically walk into any branch or location to access services. It's important that we're working very closely with the banks because ultimately a lot of this money ends up in commercial banks. So the more that we can partner together, it makes it easier to facilitate the consumers actually receiving
the financial services. And I think also working with the policy stakeholders to say, look, here's what we're doing, here's how we are doing it, so that as we design the right regulation and policy, it's always putting the customer first while still allowing for innovation and competition in the market.
First, I will start with this popular saying that money makes the world go round, right? Yet, a lot of people live one paycheck from issues of life, right? Between one paycheck and the other, something may happen. And if you do not have access to credit, then you're done. That's those who are even lucky to have, income that comes within a regular payment cycle. Some do not have at all, right? Some have, but it's also not regular. So this is how critical the issue of access to credit is for mankind to be able to achieve full potentials, all right? For even society to be safe and stable. So there is a big need around that area. And what we are seeking to do as an organization is to be able to create a system where we're able to empower everyday people to be able to access credit, fast, to meet their short-term needs. And what we've been able to do is to now tap into the resources that we have, right? Data is one area. We also have a lot of technology resources that we've brought to play and a lot of digital channels. We've brought all of these three together to create this whole fantastic experience with lending. So we started first by doing a pilot with what we will say, a deposit money bank. And today, we have onboarded hundreds of other small lending organizations to make sure that we continue to push the level of access, down the line. So data that we have currently is mainly salary data. And that has come from our over 20 years of operation within the whole payroll processing space, right? And the dynamic the data brings is it creates the whole personalization that is required for the kind of experience that I'm telling you about. Personalization in the sense that it helps to establish what technically will be called a credit score. And that is why, therefore, if you approach a bank, and you consent to our data policy, the bank will call us, and we will supply that score. And the bank will then use that to make a credit decision. All of this happen electronically within seconds, right? So, and in terms of technology resources, again, we are a strong technology company. So we've been able to create platforms that are intuitive, platforms that are robust and are able to deliver what I called earlier the 510 model. 510 model means from your application you can complete an application from between 2 and 5 minutes, depending on how fast your fingers are. And the approval will take just 1 second. And the zero there is that there is no human intervention. Money gets downloaded into your account, and then you're able to meet your needs and requirements. So within the lending space, that is the system we have been able to enable, and that is the ecosystem we've also been able to assemble to ensure that this is done on a sustainable basis.
As Nigeria seeks to achieve a drastic reduction in its poverty rate and scale financial inclusion, effective collaboration between fintechs, bank and telecommunications firms will go a long way in accelerating economic growth through an inclusion financial system powered by technology.